Borderlands 3 is a game that is somehow simultaneously fun as hell and annoying as hell in the same breath. Gearbox has made a game that is the epitome of the term mixed bag. I was very skeptical of the game's quality before its release due to the array of horrible PR decisions, dick moves, and general blunders I had seen from Gearbox pre-release. And now that the game is out, it seems all their fear of people leaking the game accomplished was making them look like a bunch of asshats. But is Borderlands 3 still a good game? How does it match up to Borderlands 2? Well, let's hop into this burning pile of garbage and find out for ourselves. This review is going to be split into sections, so first let's dive into the real meat of the game, the gameplay. Borderlands 3's gameplay is where it truly shines. In Borderlands 2, the guns felt like they were made out of paper mache and you were shooting out spitballs. Meanwhile, in Borderlands 3, every weapon feels like it has weight. Shotguns can blast enemies away, guns blast off enemies' body parts, and grenades launch enemies into the sky. It's clear lots of love and effort went into the gunplay, and even white rarity weapons both sound and feel good to shoot. The movement system is also significantly improved. While Borderlands 2's movement wasn't awful, if you go back and play it now, it just feels dated. You can run, jump, and sprint, and that's about it. Thrilling, right? At times, in Borderlands 2, it would feel as if you were running slower than a fucking paraplegic, depending on how big the map was. Gearbox fixed this in Borderlands 3 with a completely reworked movement system. You can slide kick and mantle, and it all feels super fluid and pairs nicely with the aforementioned gunplay. You can even slide kick explosive barrels into enemies, which feels fucking sweet. There's also a ground slam, which, albeit kind of situational and hard to pull off correctly without the correct class mods, is also a good way to shake up the gunplay and combine it with the movement system to make the player feel powerful. They've implemented a new co-op system that's really cool. Basically, the gist of it is that you can join your friend regardless of what level they are, and the enemies will be your level for you. This is pretty cool, because now my friends can't fucking yell at me for leveling up past them on my own, since it doesn't affect them. The new system also makes it so that everyone has their own loot drops from enemies, which is cool if you tend to play with dickheads who nab up every blue and purple they find immediately after it drops. And if you liked how the previous games worked with loot and such, perhaps you're one of the aforementioned dickheads, you can choose to use the old system and be your true gun-stealing piece of shit self. They've also added a cool mailbox mechanic. Basically, you can send items to your friends and they can grab an item from the mailbox in their social tab. Get a cosmetic item you already have? Well, if your friend doesn't have it, you can just send it to him. Or, if you're feeling lazy, you can just use the mailbox as a trash can and send all your shitty guns to that fucker who's probably playing the old system since he loves to snatch up literally any gun regardless of its quality. All jokes aside, it's honestly a really nice feature since if you wanted to do something like that in Borderlands 2, you'd have to drop it for them in-game. This mailbox system is also the base for the new weapon manufacturer reward system. This system rewards you for manufacturer loyalty, giving you new weapons at your level when you gain a certain amount of kills with that manufacturer's weapons. It's nice as you can unlock any manufacturer loyalty reward at any time with no repercussions for using any other manufacturer's weapons. And while we're on the topic of the social tab, there's a new system that informs you when your friends achieve certain feats like beating a boss or collecting an orange rarity weapon. It's an okay idea, but I did encounter a bug where the notification wouldn't go away no matter what I did, and the only way to fix it was for me to restart the game. It also will continuously give you a pop-up every 5 fucking minutes if your friend is farming a boss. I ended up turning the notification system off because of that, but I still think it was a pretty cool idea. I've heard some complaints about the new map system, which basically gives you a 3D minimalist version of the map to look at. For instance, my buds have said that it's annoying to use if you're on a level with too many floors, but I usually only had to look at the map when I was in the open world, and it does its job just fine then. I definitely like it better than Borderlands 2's map, because it even highlights the map in blue to show you where you've been and what you haven't explored yet, unlike Borderlands 2's, where the map just didn't exist until you'd been in that area. The driving feels pretty similar to Borderlands 2 for the most part, except now the different classes of vehicles are distinct from one another. The Runner is just as boring as it was in Borderlands 2, the Technical sucks now and drives slower than molasses, and the new vehicle, the Cyclone, aka the best vehicle, is a fucking tire with machine guns. Driving rarely tends to feel like a chore though, and most of the time you won't even really be driving that far. The menu system is kinda bad, especially in shops where it only lets you see the first 6 guns in your inventory. It also resets your position every time you sell a weapon, which is pretty annoying. The menus also can sometimes take a bit of time to load up when you're switching between them, which can really dig brake pads into your experience if you're just trying to quickly switch guns or something. Also, I don't really like the new echo system where you stay in first person. Borderlands 2's echo system where you open the menu in front of your character and you could pan around and check yourself out in third person was really cool, and you seemingly can't spin your character around to look at them in Borderlands 3 unless you're at one of the 2 new use stations in the game. There's one on Pandora and one on your ship, but that's it. Frame rates tend to stay at a nice stable 60 on the PS4, and they never dip below 40. Honestly, I don't really have anything that bad to say about the gameplay. Is what I would have said if this game fucking worked in co-op. Almost everything I just complimented Borderlands 3 on is only true if you're playing by yourself. Co-op isn't properly optimized whatsoever, and the game runs like dog shit because of it. What's that? You want to sell some of the shit weapons you picked up at the shop? Oh, don't worry. The menu will take a half minute to load, and then it'll lag like a bitch while you're scrolling through it, especially if you're playing with more than one other person. It also lags the other people playing with you for some dumb fucking reason. This seems to mostly happen if your friends go ahead of you and start fighting enemies while you're in the menu, so the only way my friends and I could alleviate this was for everyone to agree to sit at the shop and wait for everyone to be finished before continuing to play. Also, if you're not the host, prepare to lag your ass off. It doesn't matter how good your internet is, your friend could literally be sitting right fucking next to you with his PlayStation, and it would still lag for whoever isn't the host.
Lagging real bad.
Holy shit. My monkey's freaking out.
Yeah, welcome to co-op. Welcome to
It's
co-op.
not optimized,
Oh my god.
especially for 4 people.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's terrible.
Oh my god. Welcome to co-op. Oh my, what the why am I on a car now? What the fuck?
Where the hell are you guys going?
Co-op. This especially affects driving. Driving feels so unresponsive and slow when you're not the host, with the steering being delayed and the speedometer having more trouble getting up than a drunk old man. Whenever I join my friends, I always have to ask them to drive the runner just so I can sit in the gunner seat and not have to suffer through the horrendous driving. Gameplay is also severely impacted by bugs that will often plague your experience throughout the galaxy. Big fucking surprise there, I know. For example, my sound is often cut out whilst playing. I'd first notice something small like not being able to hear the dialogue, and then suddenly all sound would cut out and I'd be left with no audio feedback whatsoever. Do like this quest? Uh-oh, I don't have any sound.
Oh.
I don't have any sound. I thought they fixed it. What are you talking about? I thought they fixed it. The AI in Borderlands 3 is buggy as well. Enemies will occasionally clip through the walls and shoot at you while they're invulnerable. This is especially a problem if you're doing a story mission that requires you to kill all the enemies before progressing, with them often being stuck in the floor. No, you know what it is? The fucking monkey, it is bugged. This monkey is under the ground. Do you see this? There's a fucking dot here on the mini-map, but there's no fucking enemy. Confirmed broken, restarting.
Hit it.
It's okay.
I hit it though.
I want sound.
You don't want the sound.
A lot of the main story missions will have you fighting along an AI character or two, which is where most of the problems come in. Since the AI is fighting alongside you a lot, Gearbox has given them the ability to revive you. This works just fine sometimes, and other times breaks completely. I've had friendly AI characters fucking run away from me while I was down. And sometimes they'll just stand there and refuse to revive you. I will. What do you mean back on your feet, sister? You're far away! You're running away from me, Maya! Maya, what do you mean back on your feet, sister? You're running away from me!
That was fucking funny.
This game fucking sucks. They also have absolutely no strategy in trying to revive you. They usually just stand in the open soaking up bullets and explosions and then take too much damage, which staggers them and disrupts the revival. Friendly AI's pathing seems to be weird at times, with them sometimes walking around an entire room just to get where they're supposed to go.
arms now. Ha ha. What's this do?
The AI in this game is so fucking bad. He literally like walks up to the gurney, spun around me, and then went into the door. Multiple times throughout my 2 playthroughs, the AI's coding would seemingly just break. During a mission, everything would be working fine, and I'd be following an AI character as my objective, and then suddenly they'd just sit there in an area completely lobotomized, which forced me to either fast travel off the planet and then be forced to run through the area again just to get back to where I was, or quit to the main menu and restart from a checkpoint. That was not nearly as annoying as you made it out to be. But
I think it was twice as annoying because the game broke twice on us.
yeah,
The first time we did
it was
that.
probably really annoying because we were already like fucking really sick of this area, and then the fucking game broke
Yeah.
like 3 times on the way here. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. The game gonna break again?
Locate key fragment. Can we go? Oh, I think we can just go. Wait, no, never mind.
No, we gotta.
Oh, dude, this fucking game. Okay, Balix. Yo, Balix.
Felix, Bud.
Buddy. Dude,
Buddy pal.
you wanna fucking like activate the door so we can go? Can we progress, please? Also, real quick before we get too far off the topic of shit getting stuck under the floor, NPCs aren't the only entities susceptible to this bug. I've had loot thrown at me that just falls to the floor never to be seen again.
Guys, I'm purple now.
Hey Ethan,
Yeah.
check this out.
What is that?
Bone
that?
saw is ready. Don't take it, it's mine.
Bone saw is ready.
Yeah.
What?
Bone
How do you
saw.
get this?
You'll get it from playing the main story, don't worry about it. You just threw it to
You
the,
got your cheddar shredder?
you just threw it to the fucking floor.
Great.
What?
Ethan threw it down and it fell to the fucking floor. I'm not getting it. I can't get it now. That's pretty funny. Thanks, game. My friend Will has fallen through the floor twice while we were playing together, and I've fallen through once.
God fucking. Where's the world? CJ?
Yeah?
CJ? CJ,
gotta-
literally help. CJ!
You're falling through the floor.
Help!
You are falling through the floor.
Help!
I don't know how I'm supposed to help
This game
you.
was fucking. Huh?
I have no idea how I'm supposed to help you. You are falling through the
I
floor.
wonder where the. I wonder where the floor box is. I can't open my. Okay. I'm just stuck falling through the floor.
I see. So chest right
Eyes
here.
on the prize. Let him run his mouth
It's
now
right
before we
here.
stick some soap in it.
Right here.
I'm too busy
See that
being
chest
under
there?
the map, CJ.
Uh-oh.
I'm
Wait,
sorry.
you fell under the map?
No, I'm actually above the map. I'm above the skybox.
Nice.
You
William.
guys look up.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
there he
he's-
is. Look at him.
Help me.
He's literally up there. Hold on, let's see if I can see him on my
This game's
Oh,
really
God, what is
good.
it? The game is teleporting me under the map, and now my help. CJ.
Oh, where'd you go?
I don't know. It's frozen.
Nice. I've also had quest items just fall through the map, forcing me to restart the area and try and grab it again. I don't know what the problem with the hitboxes is, but it can be really annoying. There's also a really bad bug with Guardian ranks. Guardian rank is essentially your badass rank from Borderlands 2, but with little gameplay and cosmetic rewards given to you for spending your tokens on certain stat increases. I don't necessarily know how I feel about Guardian rank in Borderlands 3. Because while in Borderlands 2 you had to complete challenges that would give you badass rank in order to get tokens to increase your stats, this one is essentially just a second experience bar. Either way, the bug that occurs with Guardian rank is at some point the game might give you a shit ton of tokens for seemingly no reason. This is a trap though, because if you spend those tokens, the next time you check your Guardian rank tab, you will have negative Guardian tokens in it. Wait, what the fuck? Wait. Negative 19? What the fuck? Why do I have negative 19 Guardian tokens? What the fuck? I thought it was fucking weird that it gave me 18 for no fucking reason. Now I fucking know why. It's a fucking bug. How do I fix this shit? There are some people pointing out that this bug happens if you play offline and then gain Guardian tokens while you're offline, but this happened to me without going offline once. The most sinister part of this glitch is that it disguises itself as a hotfix. Upon opening the menu, the game will tell you that there are updates available and ask you to go back to the main menu to apply them. This bug has made me not trust the hotfix notification when it comes up on my screen, which is pretty ironic considering how many fixes this game actually needs. The only way to fix the Guardian rank bug is to go offline and earn a token before going back online, but it's not a permanent fix. If you encounter this bug and fix it, it will continuously come back no matter how many times you fix it. It doesn't take away your stat increases or rewards, but it does make it so that you can't spend the Guardian tokens you earn until you fix it. Lastly, I even had a bug where I was randomly invincible for some reason, and I still don't know what caused it. Is it just me, or am I not taking any damage? I'm not taking any damage. That's a new one. With how many bugs this game has on release, it's apparent that Gearbox didn't do any QA testing. Probably because they were pussies and didn't want anybody leaking the game. There's absolutely no way a QA tester could have played through this game and encountered 0 bugs, especially during co-op. I'm sure if you're watching this in the future though, they've probably ironed out most of the bugs and I just look like an asshole. There's a few other things gameplay-wise that I have gripes about. While the general mechanics are fun, there are a few ideas that they stuck in that probably sounded good on paper, but in practice don't work as well. The Iridium Cannon, for instance. It's a gun that shoots guns. Using Iridium, you can literally spawn in randomly generated loot. How awesome does that sound? Well, it's not actually that usable. Out of the 10 or so guns it shoots out, 99.9 of them will be greens. The cannon is supposed to give you a shot at getting orange rarity weapons, but you could probably shoot it 50 times with it only yielding greens and blues. Overall, I just ended up sticking the Iridium Cannon in my room because I didn't feel like it was even worth using.
Pacific
I
time.
guess we could play some board. Well, I'll shoot the Iridium gun one more time. Gave me poo-poo.
Some Call of
Maybe one more time.
Will's like, let me shoot it one more time, and then it puts out a bunch of greens, and he's like, one more time.
One more.
Oh, you got a blue pistol.
Alright. Alright, maybe.
Will. It is only greens. Oh, look, you got a green stuck in the roof, Will.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
They've also added this new type of weapon called an anointed weapon, which is basically a weapon that has perks that increase the stats for certain characters upon using their class ability. They're alright, I guess, but the stat increases aren't really good enough to justify using an anointed weapon over literally any other weapon. They can either be found or purchased from Crazy Earl's crazy expensive vending machine. Speaking of Crazy Earl's vending machine, man is it useless. The vending machine has purples and stuff in it, but they cost Iridium and the prices are so high that you'll never actually be able to afford the weapons until the late game, when you're probably not going to use it anyway, because at that point in the game you aren't even going to need them. Diego. The loot system in general seems really strange compared to Borderlands 2. They've added a system for once you've beaten the main story called Mayhem Mode. Mayhem Mode sounds like a good idea on paper. It's a system where, once you activate it on your ship, the enemies will become harder to kill, but they will drop better loot and also provide more XP, money, and Iridium upon defeat. There are 3 levels of Mayhem Mode, with 1 essentially just making all the enemies your level, and 3 making most of the enemies bullet sponges. This does help you get to level 50 without having to start another playthrough, but the loot games are laughable by yourself. On a vanilla playthrough, the loot is fucking horrendous. After beating a vault monster, you get to go inside the vault and loot some chests, which in theory should give you pretty good stuff, considering the Iridians technically put the vault monster in there to guard the weapons inside. In reality though, most vaults didn't even have a single purple rarity weapon in them.
The middle button. Let's do this before we open the chest. Maybe it's like better loot that way. You know?
Yeah? Blue sniper, did you say? Blue Jacob sniper? What is that,
Yeah.
assault rifle?
Mm.
That sucks. That also sucks.
Yeah? Nothing good, wow. I don't understand. Like,
You got fucking
the first
garbage
vault
from
me and Rob
these.
opened was really fucking good.
Yeah, you get like a gold from it. Now you just get like fucking greens and maybe like 1 or 2 blues. It's fucking
I
stupid.
don't fucking get it.
Oh yeah, we have this giant fucking vault monster and he's like guarding the fucking vault. And then if you kill the vault monster, you get to open the vault and it has fucking blues and greens and whites.
Got
And
Dick
not,
Diddley in it.
it has not even 1 purple 99% of the time. Fucking stupid, dude. Some bosses upon defeat didn't even drop my friend and me a fucking blue. While playing on Mayhem 1 with a friend, we were getting loot we were expecting to get late game on a vanilla playthrough finally, but that was only when I was playing co-op. By yourself, the loot is extremely inconsistent. On Mayhem 3, I've had situations where a boss dropped me 5 orange rarity weapons, and I've also had situations where the boss didn't drop me any. On Mayhem 3, the rare loot chance is supposed to be raised by fucking 500%, but the game still counts blues and purples into the mix, which pollutes every boss in chest's loot pool with weapons you won't even take a second glance at in the endgame. While in Borderlands 2, I could theoretically farm a boss 10 times and get the orange I was looking for, in this game, on Mayhem 3, with a loot chance relic and increased loot chance for my Guardian rank, I farmed a boss around 60 times and still didn't get the orange I was trying to get. Maybe I'm just unlucky, or maybe the chance to drop that weapon is ridiculously low, but from my experience, the loot is still really inconsistent, even on Mayhem 3. Really? I'm on Mayhem 3 and I get blue, green. I didn't get a single purple. And I'm playing on fucking Mayhem 3. These vaults fucking suck. They're just destined to give you shit loot. Like, I don't know. The story of Borderlands 2 wasn't the best, but it was at least passable. Although, if you play through Borderlands 2 today, you'll probably be rolling your eyes at most of the humor because it hasn't aged well. It's very apparent that Gearbox didn't learn their lesson for this entry, as the humor is somehow worse. When Borderlands 2 came out, I'd argue the humor wasn't as cringe-inducing as it is now, because it was the humor of the times. Borderlands 3's humor is cringe-inducing the day of release.
Where is he?
You got stuck. Must have been that big old rump. Yeah, my new friend is gonna have some thick rear paneling. If you want that looty, you better have an armored booty. That's
Oh, this is the one where he says thick with 2 C's.
Oh, yes. Every 5 minutes, the characters will spout off some stale meme that was probably funny when they were writing the scripts, but is already dead now. Internet culture has changed nowadays, and jokes and memes that circulate the internet oftentimes die quicker than black people in horror movies. The writers also stuck in an absurd amount of toilet humor, having certain characters talk about poop way too often.
I found Aslan Strip at my parents' turf farm. A fresh start. I had to make
What is this game's obsession? What is this game's obsession with turds? Why does Type into Leon talk about poop like 95% of the time he's talking about anything? He talks about poop all the freaking time. Literally the last Type into Leon shit we got was like, I took the biggest poop in the toilet and I went to go see Montgomery Jacobs. Like, what the fuck? Like, what do you have? What is with you in poop, dude?
Look at the highlight.
Yeah.
The litter box. There's poop in it.
Getting it.
There's poop in it. That's
There's
not
literally shit in this
funny.
room.
That's not funny. There's poop in it.
Stinky.
So, Will, are we gonna acknowledge the fact that the
No.
humor of this game is literally, uh-oh, stinky, funny poop, poop funny. Like, fuck off. Like, it's literally poop. It's literally, uh-oh, stinky. They even have a gun skin that's literally poop. I don't even think an 8-year-old playing through this game would find the humor to be funny. The actual story doesn't fare well either. Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2 was an amazing antagonist. They managed to make him a combination of threatening and funny without making him annoying. The Calypso twins try to be Handsome Jack, but they're so far off the mark it's honestly upsetting. Their whole gimmick is that they're streamers, which is about as obnoxious as it sounds.
Oh,
Cyrene, coming to you live. We got something real special for you today.
I'm acting like I don't want to play this shit garbage story like 3 times over. You know?
Instead of having anything funny to say or making fun of streamer culture, they'll instead just constantly spout off to you about how many viewers they have and tell you to like and subscribe. It's really annoying. They even make these little videos of them kicking your ass, and they're so unfunny and poorly edited. Whoever edited the videos has absolutely no understanding of how funny internet videos work, and it fucking shows.
Hey, Lil, you're back on the grid. Thought you might have just, While you were gone, Troy whipped up a propaganda vid for our followers. Galaxy Premiere! Check it out! You're a star.
Hey, CJ.
Looking good, Nighthawk. Better hurry up and get to Promethea. See you later. Have a good war.
What the
Say what you
fuck?
will about those guys, but their production.
They beat the videos over your head too, because they start playing them on random TVs throughout the planets you're exploring for some reason. The Calypso twins feel as if some boomer wrote all their dialogue. Remember how Handsome Jack was really condescending to you in Borderlands 2? Well, the Calypso twins try to pull this off too, but they really just come off as trying too hard. I couldn't even really feel anything but indifferent towards them because of this. Listen to this line from Handsome Jack in Borderlands 2.
Oh, this is so frustrating. You see, this is what I don't get about you bad guys. You know the hero's gonna win, but you just don't die quickly. Man, example, this one guy in New Haven, right? City's burning, people are dying left and right, yada yada yada. This jackhole rushes me with a spoon. A freaking spoon, and I'm dying laughing, right? So I scoop out his stupid little eyeballs with it, and his kids are all, wah! And I can't even, he can't see where he's going, he's bumping into stuff, and anyway, I don't know, maybe he had to be there. The moral is, you're a total bitch.
Now, listen to this line from the Calypso twins.
I don't know, do we kill some orphans, or kill some puppies, or cram a bunch of puppies into an orphanage and burn them to the ground? It's a dilemma! What's gonna keep the offerings flowing? Oh, Ty, maybe we'll let our followers decide.
Dude, we're so evil. We're so evil. We'll kill an orphanage full of puppies. That's funny. Because we're evil. We're so evil, guys. Guys, we're evil. Guys, we're super evil, please.
The difference is night and day. The story missions of Borderlands 3 get pretty repetitive, oftentimes not being anything more than go here, shoot the guys, and grab the thing from the boss at the end. The only way they switch up the missions at all is when they stick in a random driving section that usually just consists of you driving past all the enemies, since trying to kill them is a good way to fucking die. I personally stayed invested until maybe halfway through, where the plot just gets really lazy and uninteresting. Only 1 or 2 missions after the halfway point are even memorable to me. Overall, I think the best way to experience Borderlands 3 is to play with friends and treat it like a B-movie, laughing at how poorly written most of the characters are. The rest of the complaints I have about the story would be hard to talk about without spoiling anything, so if you want to avoid spoilers, just jump to this timestamp. I've already explained how bad the Calypso twins are dialogue-wise, but their impact on the plot is laughable. The writers seemingly couldn't figure out how to make the twins threatening to the player, so they went for the easy way out and just gave them the ability to teleport wherever the fuck they want with no repercussions. Almost all of the encounters the Crimson Raiders have with the Calypso twins involves the game quite literally locking you behind a door while the twins teleport to your friends and attack them. They do it once in the beginning, which at first I thought, okay, fine, they had to have a reason to get rid of Lilith's powers and make her useless, and she's technically the most powerful siren. And you could also argue that they lock you behind a door in the beginning because your Vault Hunter isn't powerful enough to take them on. But then they do it a second time upon opening the first vault, this time killing off Maya in a literal fucking Thanos snap that is so out of nowhere and disrespectful to her character. This time locking you behind a door doesn't make sense either, since the cutscene triggers while you're coming back through the vault portal. My friends and I had an inside joke whenever a cutscene occurred, joking that the Calypso twins were just gonna pop out of nowhere and beat the shit out of whoever we were with. Now I was thinking, they couldn't possibly do it again, right? Well, I was both right and wrong, because after opening the second vault on Eden 6, Troy quite literally exclaims phase lock out of nowhere and just kidnaps Tannis randomly. They don't even show up this time, instead just phase locking and teleporting Tannis into their custody. If Troy is able to just grab and teleport anyone he wants, why doesn't he just do it to the Vault Hunters? How overpowered the twins are for no reason pokes so many holes in the plot, it's laughable. Near the middle of the plot, you'll go onto a planet called Eden 6, which is by far the worst area in the entire game. We'll talk about the planet designs later, but the story once you get to Eden 6 is where I stopped giving a shit about the plot. It just becomes so meandering, and almost every story mission on Eden 6 feels like a side mission. You spend missions working for this guy Clay, who has you build up a resistance on Eden 6 for literally no reason. It doesn't come back up in the story whatsoever. They also introduce a plot thread that goes nowhere involving Troy Calypso. Throughout the game thus far, Troy was basically just the sidekick to Tyrene, who is much more powerful than him. But upon getting Maya's phase lock ability from killing her, he exclaims he's tired of being treated like a parasite and only getting table scraps from Tyrene. This doesn't go anywhere and is never mentioned after the one cutscene. Overall, Eden 6 just feels like they tacked it on at the end of development to make the game longer, and the only fun part about Eden 6 is the Vault Monsters boss fight at the end. Borderlands 3 is one of those games that tries to introduce plot twists to keep the story refreshing. This is usually a good way to keep people invested, but the problem is almost every plot twist of Borderlands 3 is predictable as fuck. The only plot twists they added that weren't predictable were the ones that made no sense. For example, around the 75% mark of the game, it's revealed that Tannis is a siren, which at first they hint at when she starts talking to you the same way Lilith does telepathically, but then she explains she got her siren powers from Angel. Yeah, Angel from Borderlands 2, a character she never interacted with whatsoever in Borderlands 2, and also a character you literally watched die with no chance to give her powers to anyone beforehand. Another unpredictable plot twist is when the game pretends to have an Infinity War style bad ending with a to be continued at the end. This plot twist comes out of nowhere, but it's at least funny in hindsight, and I even have Will and I's genuine reaction to share with you.
Like, I'm so fucking... so bored. This is really necessary. Can I fucking play the game yet?
What?
Hello?
What?
Yeah,
Nuh-uh.
like, hold on. Yeah,
Are
really?
you pulling an Infinity War on us?
What do you mean to be continued in the DLC? That's fucking... What the fuck do you mean? CJ, I'm, like, not about this. Yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
Oh, okay, good.
That was such a fucking, like, fuck off.
I was gonna be like, what?
Another annoying piece of Borderlands 3 storytelling is what they do with the characters. Borderlands 3 spends way too much time introducing new characters and having you run around with them, rather than having any characters from the previous entries show up for longer than 5 minutes. Brick, Mordecai, and Tiny Tina are in literally one mission in the entire game and then randomly pop back up at the end when you attack the Calypso Twins' stronghold. Salvador, Athena, Axton, Dr. Zed, Gage, and Krieg aren't in the game at all. Well, okay fine. Krieg has some echo logs that he's in, but they're only there to develop Maya's character more. Marcus just sits behind his booth on Sanctuary with no quest to give you. Moxie has one mission to give you and it's fun, but that's the only mission from her. Ellie just sits on the ship and appears sporadically throughout the story to say random inspirational shit. She gets one quest later on that could have been given by literally any other character in the game, since it's just, hey, go fight Mouthpiece again. Zero and Sir Hammerlock are both only really in 2 missions before the game forces them to sit on the ship and do nothing as well. Mr. Tori is only there in the Circle of Slaughter missions. Reese is not only not written as good as he was in Tales from the Borderlands, but he's also in like 3 or so missions. Same with Vaughn. They made him more annoying and he only shows up sporadically. Really, the only characters you spend any real time with are Lilith and Tannis. Also, your Vault Hunter is barely involved with the story whatsoever. Like, how cool would it be if you were treated to different cutscenes with your Vault Hunter in them depending on who you were playing as and who you were with? Well, there's nothing actually like that in here. The cutscenes basically pretend like your character doesn't even exist, even though they're doing all the heavy lifting. The game has these open world challenges that they spread around the maps. They're each assigned to a neglected character in what feels like a poor attempt to supplement for side quests. The game actually doesn't really have that many side quests for how big it is, and a big chunk of them are just going to a certain point in the map and killing a little mini-boss. Moxie's open world challenges are essentially the radio tower climbs from Far Cry 3 and 4, just a little more creative. Claptrap has challenges where you basically walk up to a dead claptrap and scavenge a part off them by pressing the interact button. His are mildly annoying lore-wise because they're huge retcons of the previously established lore of why the claptraps were killed. Hammerlock's challenges have you walk into an area and kill a creature that has a chance to drop legendaries, and Zero's are basically the same but with people instead of creatures. There's also the Typhon de Leon logs where you listen to this dude ramble on about shit nobody cares about, and if you find 3 of them in a map, you can access a dead drop with purples in it. Typhon de Leon is an annoying character that spends maybe 10% of his logs talking about vaults, and then the other 90% talking about turd farms. You encounter him later in the story on the Iridian homeworld Necrotafeo, which, on a side note, shouldn't it be called Iridia, considering that the Iridians came from the fucking planet? Whatever. You run into him later and he's this short fat dude with a whip, and he tells you that he had 2 kids. Guess who the fuck those 2 children are? Yeah, apparently the twins were evil because Typhon was overprotective. And when you kill Troy, Tyrene's motivations are really retarded. Apparently she wants to become a god so that she can, like, eat all the stars or something. I honestly don't know. At that point in the game, I was so checked out from the story that I was just mindlessly killing things and running through the map. Either way, my point is, this annoying character you've been hearing ramble on and on about being a turd farmer and opening vaults ends up being Tyrene and Troy's dad. I mean, maybe I don't blame them for going crazy. If I had to listen to Typhon ramble every day of my life, I probably would become homicidal too. The last thing I need to complain about that's story related is the ending. Borderlands 2's final boss was kind of underwhelming, with it just being a dragon looking thing, and the ending was just really generic sequel bait. But I would have taken a literal direct copy of Borderlands 2's ending over the piece of shit ending we got. So at around the 80-ish% mark in the game, you assault the Calypso stronghold while Troy phase locks the moon to try to get it to collide with Pandora for some reason. They say it's to open the Great Vault or something and waken the Vault monster, but then at the end of the game, the vault opens anyway. I don't know. You kill Troy as the final boss for that area, which is kind of unfortunate because Troy would have made more sense being the one that survives, considering that he would have had actual motivation to be like, fuck the universe, everything sucks, I'm killing everyone. Since Tyrene basically treated him like human garbage the entire game. Also, when you kill Troy, Ava, Maya's apprentice, absorbs the phase lock ability that Troy stole from Maya. But either way, the less annoying Calypso twin is dead, and now Tyrene is at the Great Vault on Pandora. You try to beat her there, but she has the ability to teleport wherever she wants with no repercussions, so obviously she's there first. She ends up merging with the Vault monster to become a necromorph? And once you defeat her, Lilith gets her powers back. Now, the characters realize the moon is still going to collide with Pandora and they need to stop it. Instead of trying to get Ava to phase lock the moon back into place using the Iridium that's still sitting in the stronghold, Lilith decides that the best course of action is to sacrifice herself. She flies Superman style into the moon and makes the entire moon light up with this stupid ass Firehawk emblem. And I guess that stops the moon somehow? What about the people who lived on Elpis? Are they just dead now? There's no explanation, and after some cheesy dialogue, the game just abruptly ends with "This Girl is on Fire" by Alicia Keys. You know, just in case you needed any more proof the writers weren't taking anything serious while writing the gas station toilet fire that was the script for this game. Usually when you put credits in the game, you want to use a song that's, you know, good, so that people stick around to read the credits. And I mean, there is a good song in the credits. If you stick around after the Alicia Keys song, you get rewarded with Trouble by Cage the Elephant. But they probably should have just played that song instead and threw "This Girl is on Fire" in the trash where it belongs. The graphics are definitely an upgrade from Borderlands 2. The problem is, Borderlands 3 doesn't do anything with its better graphics. The planets on Borderlands 3 are all the same environment, and you don't go anywhere that looks even remotely different. I mean, look at all the different areas from Borderlands 2. There's snowy areas, grassy areas, desert areas, volcanic areas, and that's all on Pandora. In Borderlands 3, every place you go to on Pandora is a desert area, and it all looks the same. I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between any of the areas on Pandora compared to Borderlands 2. Promethea is all cityscape with nothing else to look at. Athenas is literally just one village in the most linear planet in the entire game. Eden 6 is all poorly designed swampland that gives me PTSD from Sir Hammerlock's big game hunt. And Necrotafeo is cool, but you spend more than half of your time there in Iridian ruins. It's just all boring. The game also suffers from that good old Unreal Engine texture pop-in every time you load into an area, and almost every time a cutscene triggers. They could have had cool different environments on each of the planets, but in the end it just looks intentionally lazy so that they could reuse the same assets from planet to planet. There honestly isn't much for me to say about the soundtrack in Borderlands 3 other than it's about as hit or miss as the rest of the game in my opinion. Some of the bosses have generic action music as their fight music, and others like Mouthpiece have a fucking banger for boss fight music. Honestly though, nothing in the soundtrack really stuck out to me as really good aside from like maybe 3 songs. Also, I feel like the Sanctuary song is a little too short because you hear it loop like every 5 minutes and it's not really soft and passive enough of a song to be good hub world music in my opinion. The customization in Borderlands 3 is honestly really good. Since SDUs no longer cost Iridium, you get to spend your hard-earned Iridium on cool cosmetic shit for your characters and guns. And while most of the skins are the same from character to character, that's not really a big deal in my opinion, since Borderlands 2 did the same thing. The heads are mostly unique for each character, and they're really cool looking. You can also change the colors of the skins, which I like because some of the skins in Borderlands 2 felt like they could have been cooler with a different color palette, but you can change that now. There's also skins for your Echo device, like 6 emotes, weapon charms, weapon skins, and room decorations. The weapon skins, Echo skins, and charms are universal from character to character, which is pretty nice. And each character has a different mocap of the emotes, which is kind of cool as well. Overall, I don't really have anything to complain about with the customization. It does its job, and there's a lot to change. In conclusion, I don't know if I can recommend Borderlands 3 in the state it's in with a clear conscience. I also don't know if I can say Borderlands 3 is a good game without laughing, but what I do know is that it's fun. And in the end, fun is probably the most important part of a game. If someone were to ask me if they should get Borderlands 3 as of right now, I'd probably recommend them to wait a little while until they fix most of the bugs. If I were to put the game on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 6 in its current state, and then a 7 once they fix the bugs. Hopefully the DLC is better than the main story, because I have the season pass, and I'm along for the ride at this point. Thanks for watching.